taking a look at the Ohuhu Acrylic Markers. Hi there, thank you for joining me today. I am Natasha of Natasha Miller Creates, and today we're taking a look at the Ohuhu Acrylic Markers. If you're not familiar with Ohuhu, they are a relatively affordable brand that's available on Amazon, and it's pretty good quality for the price, so it's kind of a nice, accessible brand to get to. So today we're taking a look at this 30 color set. They are dual tips, bright colors, water-based, low odor ink. They have good coverage, and it says they work on most surfaces. These are currently out of stock on Amazon.ca. They do have a 40 pen pack, and that pack is about $40 currently on sale. And that's on Amazon Canada. So it'll be a little bit less in the US. So I was attracted to these pens because they're acrylic markers, and I have been on a huge acrylic marker kick. You can check out my reviews of the acrylographs, the Artistro paint pens, as well as the Artex paint pens. And so I thought I'd take a look at Ohuhu. The box is super fun. I love this design and style. It shows you what the pens look like. They have a fine tip and a round tip. They have the colors on the back, and then they have the instructions. So just like regular paint pens, you shake them, you depress them, then you draw and you cap them. Okay, so let's take a look at what's inside the box. Okay, so here we have the box. We have some extra tips in the box, which is nice. As you can see, that is an acrylic tip or a plastic tip, and that is the same as the Archer and Olive tips. And then this is the thicker tip. It doesn't say what the thickness of the tip is. It just says it's a round bullet tip. And then we have an assortment of colors from metallic to neon, and then your regular colors, I should say. We have some whites, we have blacks, there are some blues, lots of pinks, although neon rose and neon pink look very similar. So it'll be fun to see what the neon colors look like. And it'll be fun to see how the metallic colors swatch. But let's take a look at the pen itself. So just like the box shows, the thicker tip, the round tip, has a thicker base than the fine tip. So that's kind of a nice touch, so that if you're just grabbing it, you can feel which way is the right way you want to use the pen. There's the thick tip, and I like that the color is all over the barrel like that. There's the fine tip. And so this one, I believe, if it's the same as the Archer and Olive, this is your 0.7mm tip. So I'm wondering if this one is a 3mm. But when we swatch these, we will take a look and see. They're very comfortable to hold. I do like the black barrel. I do like that they are shaped like this. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just grabbing a pen, so it's kind of nice to know which side you're going to be using. The box, let me see. There's an instruction leaflet in the box. It comes in multiple languages, so lots of languages. The instructions are the same. It says, fit for people aged 14 plus. To avoid the problem of ink leakage when shaking the pen next time, use up the ink in the pen tip every time without too much ink residue. After use, wipe off the ink on the pen tip to avoid the ink blocking the ink outlet during the next use. So that's just like the acrylographs. Yeah, so if the color is pale, just shake it some more. The marker writes well at first use, however the ink seldomly flows or gets jammed several days later, so that is just cleaning the tip. It says the marker leaks ink when I just get the products. Please contact us for a return or replacement. And then if you're not satisfied, contact them for return or placement. Okay, so let's get to swatching these and see how they look. Okay, so I'm going to be using my Neapolitan Archer and Olive dark red notepad. And I'm just going to grab some of the different colored papers and just have them all on one page so that they are easier to see all together. So I did have some extra papers lying around, so that's just what I'm going to use to put the swatch page together. Okay, so I've already activated these. I will talk about the activation process after we are done swatching. Okay, so those are all of the colors swatched. They are dry now. I will say this, these markers do like the smoother white paper more than they liked the craft and the black. Like the craft has a tiny little bit of grit to it, and that's exactly how the paint dried. So it's bumpy and ridgy. On the black, it's not as much, but on the white, it pretty much dries smooth. Overall, I think it's a good color range. These guys are pretty simple. I do like the purples and the blues. These guys were monstrous to activate. I know that sounds like an over-exaggeration, but to say my hands were tired from activating the pens was a bit of an understatement. It did take a little bit of time and repetitive pushing to activate the ink, so that was a little bit tiring. I did do a swatch before I activated it, and it just took far too long, so I thought I would just take the activated pens and swatch them for you. I was a little bit disappointed about the neon on the black and the craft. As you can see, it's super vibrant on the white, and then on the black it just kind of disappears, and then on the craft, like, I found the primary colors to be more vibrant than I did the neon, so that was a little bit disappointing. I will say this, I absolutely love how the metallics look. I don't use a lot of metallics, but these make me want to use the metallics. Again, these dried with a ridge, a little bit less of a ridge, and then these dried flat essentially, or smooth, sorry. Versus this picked up the grit of the paper, the craft paper. Okay, so I made some swatches to check opacity. This is the metallic blue, this is the neon, and this is that blue that was appearing to bleed through. When I flip over the page, it did bleed through, and that was because I wanted to see what it looks like when you layer them. So like I said, on the white paper they dry quite flat, so layering doesn't seem to be an issue on this paper, so that's good. So it's definitely ridging when you do layer. Let's see how opaque the white is. We're gonna go over the metallic and the white. Layering wise, it's not that bad. It goes over there pretty well. I mean, I didn't really color in the background too carefully, but the white is pretty opaque popping over that metallic, so that's great. The yellow and the green and the red still kind of pop on that darker blue. I don't like that the dark blue bleeds and then it's drying with a ridge, which, I mean, that's fine, but this is 160 GSM paper, so, and then there it's having some warping issues from the white paint, and there it's having warping issues from the neon and the metallic. So that's definitely something to keep into consideration if you're going to use these pens, especially on paper thinner than 160 GSM. There is some bleed through, there's definitely warping, so definitely something to take into consideration. So overall, these are fun to use, sure. Are they anything special to run out and you have to get them? No, I'm not going to say that. They're a good price for what they are. I prefer the color range of the Karen pigment markers and the Archer and Olive, obviously. I'm a little bit biased with the Archer and Olive, but that's okay. Overall, if I were to rate these, I would put them after the Artex brush pens, to be honest. But again, they're a good price point. I do love the metallics. If you can get the metallics separately, I'd say go for it. The neons, like I said, are a little bit disappointing. They are a bit wet. So if you remember, they are water-based and they are a bit wet. So when they first went down, they went down thick. Like there was a lot of ink that collected on the page. This is 160 GSM and there's a little bit of warping. There's actually, if I hold it to the light, there's some ghosting, which that's okay. I'm not a ghosting person. This one had a tiny little bit of bleed through. The blue, the azure blue, and the black had a little bit of bleed through where I drew the box. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's okay, like it's a minuscule bleed through. So, you know, world's smallest violin for the 160 GSM users, but still, like, it takes a lot to bleed through this paper and to even ghost. So if you have it down on the page, it is ridged. It's more ridged this way than it is. Yeah, it's more ridged on the back of the page than it is on the front, so that's annoying. Yeah, and there's some ghosting. It's very light ghosting, and it's if I lift the page. If it's lying flat on the surface, you don't really see the ghosting as much. But yes, the darker colors here bled through, and there's very light ghosting. So that was with the black and the blue. So do with that what you want. That, I don't like that. Are these my most favorite acrylic paint pens? I'm gonna say no. Like I said, Caron, Archer and Olive, and Artex is still like my top 3. But these are definitely a more affordable option if those other ones are out of your price range. I would honestly rather go with the Artex, which are similar price point, much easier to use. But that's just my experience. Let me know if you've used these. Let me know if you like them. And I will see you in the next one. For more pen reviews, check out this video, or how to use acrylic markers, check out this video. Thank you for your time today. I'll catch you in the next one.